Hello, my name is Keith. Welcome back to my devlog series for Doc King. Today we're going to be talking about creating a demo for Steam and all of the stuff that needs to be created and set up and prepared in order to get yourself in a good position to have a Steam demo that people want to play. So we're going to be going through general advice that I think will apply to everybody that I've been keeping a list of as I prepare for Doc King's demo myself. So these will be things that I think everyone will find some value in. And then we'll talk a little bit about what my game needs in particular. These things will probably not be that relevant to your game, but if you're interested in Doc King's journey, that might be interesting to you. Okay, so let's start with the general advice. The first thing, and these are in no particular order, except maybe this one is the most important. Chris Zukowski always talks about this. Purchase or create a great capsule art. This will be shown across your game in all sorts of different ways on Steam. So it's really more of a promotional art that you can cut and size to the different aspect ratios. But it's very important nowadays because there's so many games. So you really want to have a professional looking capsule art image. I used to look on DeviantArt and ArtStation back in the day, but nowadays I post on game development discords and I try and find artists that way. One strategy I've heard others mention is reaching out to other game devs that have good capsules that you like and just asking for a referral to their artist. Maybe you'll get lucky that way and they'll be in your budget. I have another video on AI, but I think this is not a case that you want to use AI. I don't really recommend generative AI at all. I think maybe as concept art, but no, not for this. It's important to use a real artist, so I'd rather see you draw your own poorly than use some AI generated art for your promotional art. Okay, next is localizing your store page into multiple languages. This is another tidbit from Chris Zukowski, that if you localize just your Steam page into multiple languages, you can at least get a sense of where traffic is coming from and where people are wish listing your game, and that can lead you to decide on fully implementing that language as a localization for your game at release. So this is a really good time to do it with your demo because you're going to have a lot of new people coming in and looking at the game and playing it. So I'd say localize it into as many languages as you can. It's probably going to run you anywhere from $10 to $30 per language. And that's right now costs. That'll change in the future, of course. But the one other bit of that is you could look at related games and check, to your own and check their reviews and see what languages they're in, and that can help you drive the decision of which languages that you choose. Outside of that, you can of course just look at Steam's breakdown of users by language and just go that way. All right, next is creating a good trailer. This is a good time to do it. If you have a demo coming out, make sure you have a good trailer. Make sure you recut any footage that you had from before. You want to show your most latest and greatest. This is a time that you really want to drive people to try out your game. So you really want to give it your best effort, I think. At least that's how I'm treating it. I'm treating it kind of like an early access launch in a way, because there's just going to be so many eyes that come to your game when the demo releases that Steam's going to push your way, hopefully. So you really want to be putting your best foot forward. As a side note, I'll be doing my trailer myself. I think nowadays in 2025, it's kind of looking like players are sick of trailers that are kind of the same as all the other trailers. They kind of skip through them anyways. I think if you can add some of your own personality to the trailer just to keep them attentive because it's different, I think that's a really good thing to do. So I'll be making my own for Doc King. So the next one is controller support. This isn't for every game, obviously, but if your game does intend to have controller support in the final game, I think it's probably best to have it in the demo so you can get feedback on it. You probably don't want to wait until the final game is ready to get feedback on this, because some games go really wrong with their controller support, and I see a lot of bad reviews for games because they didn't properly support the controller. So if you are going to, then put it in the demo and just get the feedback now instead of waiting until the full release. And the next part is one that I think is really unfortunate because I'm lazy, but it's settings. All of the various settings that you can put into your game. For some reason, it seems like players now expect all these things in a demo. I'm not blaming players. It's probably just that demo quality has been getting higher and higher. But, you know, when I was younger, it seemed like demos really never had settings at all. Maybe some audio controls, you know. But nowadays, it looks like you probably want to have key rebind support. You probably want to have window full screen resolution support, VSync. You probably want to have UI scale support, font choice maybe for dyslexic people, accessibility settings like that, graphics settings, fog, shadows, etc. You probably want to do all this stuff for your demo. The one big reason why I would say you should, outside of consumer expectations, is because this is something that can be reviewed now on Steam if you create your own Steam page for it instead of having the demo as part of the actual games page. So if you're getting reviewed on it, you probably don't want to do anything that causes one of those really annoying bad reviews because you didn't have the one thing that they wanted, which maybe that was changing monitors or VSync. That's enough for some people to leave a bad review. So I'm going to be trying to implement basically every single option I can at this point. And another benefit is you don't have to work on that stuff later in the game, hopefully. So next is testing on different resolutions. I think this is just another launch type of thing that once you're putting it in players' hands that have all sorts of different monitors, you just want to make sure to test that that works fine. Next is having a feedback system ready. I did this on my previous game, Wizard Punk, and it was really nice to get feedback. The one I used deposited it straight into Trello, which was great. Yeah, basically the important part is have a way that the players can tell you how they feel about your game. Whether that's through Discord, whether that's a system that sends it to you automatically, whether that's giving them your email, just make sure you can get feedback, or else really the demo is kind of pointless. It's fine as a promotional thing, but if you're not iterating on the demo, what are you doing? And the final point, or the final aspect that you might want to visit for your demo is promotion. So I think it's a really great time actually to promote the game because now you have a call to action. Of course, you always have the call to action of wishlisting, but now you can actually play a demo. So yeah, I think it's a great time to blast all of the social medias, to send out some emails to streamers, to have all of your friends and such post about it. I think putting a lot of energy into that, almost as if it is like an early access launch, it can really do a lot of great stuff and bring a lot of people to the game. So yeah, I think you should focus on that. Okay, so as far as what Doc King specifically needs, there's quite a few things, and it's why it's taking so long. I've been working on the game now for about a year and a half, and I thought I would have the demo ready earlier, but there's just a lot of stuff. The big ones coming up is I'm reworking the entire introduction part of the game. I had a tutorial that was just dialogue, And that's the worst way to do it. Everyone says that's the worst way to do it. Don't do that. But that's what I had, and that explained how to play the game and how to get money and how to buy the gear and the stall. I'm getting rid of that. Now we're going to have little subquests or favors, and these will get you the gear. So there's, right when you start off, you're going to see this guy to the left, and he is going to give you an old rod, and you're going to fish up carp, and these carp you turn back into them, and he gives you a fishing rod. And then with the fishing rod, you can catch fish and sell them and make money that way. Same thing is going to happen with the snorkel and the merchant carpet. So I'm now turning the game into a bit more of a RPG start, where you have these little quests littered around, and that will push you in the progression of the game, instead of just having these items as purchasable items at a stall. I think it's much more interesting this way too, but it's a big rework. I'm trying to include more future unlockable type things in the game, so that players at least have the illusion that there's a lot of interesting things in the future coming down the line. I have a little bit of that right now with there's a rich part of town, you know, where people are going to dress fancy and they're going to pay more for your items and stuff like that. And that is currently blocked. You know, you're not allowed to get in, kind of like Ocarina of Time with that guy not letting you go to the Great Deku Tree has that vibe. And then there's other aspects like the open ocean part of the game. I'm going to have ships over there, and you can't quite get there until you have your own little ship. So I'm just adding more parts of the game that make the world feel bigger, so that players do want to come back to it. Otherwise, if you're not incentivizing people to come back, they might think that they've seen it all and really have no reason to buy the full game. The last bit is the story. So I haven't really added any story to the game because I've been focused on the mechanics and the core loop and the progression systems, yada yada. But now it's probably time to add a little bit of the story, just so that players know what to expect in the full version. So it would be a bit of a shock if all of a sudden there was a story in the full version. They didn't see any of that in the demo, I think. So just having a bit of that peppered in, I think will, for one, it'll accomplish the same thing as the future unlockables, which is it'll show that there's something more to the game, something more for them to accomplish and learn about. And then two, it will show them that there is actually a story to the game. So if they like that, then maybe they'll return for that. Okay, so the last bit of stuff I want to talk about is what I've been doing to prepare for this and learn about other games and such. I have been playing other games' demos. I think that's really important to do. Even if it's a bit of a chore, just find games in the genre that your game is and just try them out. Try out the demos, or just try out the games themselves and, you know, play the first 30 minutes. Just see what it's like, see what people might expect, see what you like, and maybe fix those things, and, you know, that'll make your game better. So that's what I've been doing, as well as just trying to get as many people to look at it that I know as possible. That way the demo crowd is not the first crowd that takes a look at it. So that's how I've been preparing. I hope this has been helpful. Go wishlist Doc King. Have a good one.